You've got less margin for error, but they're so important, especially in times where they'd be less expected. Typically, they are less expected because they're a little bit less safe.
Let 1-all.
If you haven't already seen it, save it for later, because right now you're watching the best thing you can watch for table tennis. But Dimoi Ovcharov versus Tomokazu Harimoto, the showdown on the official ITTF Facebook page. It's quite entertaining.
1-2.
Just reminded of it hearing Dima's cho. Dima may have won the match, but he lost the showdown.
2-all.
Oh, break off the top of the net. Two very short bounces. Fänon Chjändung so fast to react. But no mercy, ball, no luck, I should say, anyway. Ball does not come off the table. A little bit off the top of the net, but Dima, that's exactly what I hoped to see from that tomahawk serve. A bit shorter on the table this time. Well, he doesn't get a clean first attack. He gets Fänon Chjändung to step around and re-guides it, redirects it with that backhand counter right off the bounce. Sort of a redirectional backhand block. Love these points! When Fänon Chjändung starts hulking out and grunting, who blocks that confidently? And then Dima starts to counter with the forehand. Can you turn the game up any higher? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen here throughout the match. Backhand again all over the table. If he can get that first backhand in, the wrist is more flexible there. This is part of the reason the backhand receive is so popular. And I think Dima has really been the proof in the pudding. Of course, the top Chinese national team members as well. But Dima has been so effective in that backhand receive. This was a big point for me, a 7-2 lead versus a 6-3 lead. Last game he was up 5-3 and Dima wasn't able to hang on. Fänon Chjändung can break free. Just missing long. Fänon Chjändung's placement there really paying off. Parallel shot wide to the backhand side. Dima from the middle of the table is going to have a much tougher time, especially on the forehand side, to use that backhand. If Fänon Chjändung plays it deep on the backhand side.
Let 4-6.
That serve was a surprise one again. Dima caught moving in. Fänon Chjändung playing it wisely. A reverse pendulum serve is much easier to play middle of the table or forehand than it is deep to the opposite side of the table, the backhand to the righty. Fänon Chjändung having so many serves for moments like these. 3 in a row for Fänon Chjändung. Second serve here. Perfectly placed, the bigger middle, and if he can get Dima to use the forehand, second towel break of the game. This is not the time for the timeout. That stance, Fänon Chжэндуном so strong, looking like a superhero with his feet probably 5 feet apart as he turns and twists for that loop. Dima back with the serves. Well played. Changing up the pattern here. Getting Fänon Chжэндуном to play into the forehand side.
7-6.
Oh, this one gets away. From here, it looked like that one drifted a bit long. The rotation was tough to read, but maybe that was the issue. Light underspin, slightly emptier than it appeared. Fänon Chжэндуном sure lifted it out. Maybe that was part of the plan. Have to sort of imagine it was. No, just out of reach. Fänon Chжэндуном stays very focused to hang in there for that side spin from under the table. Dima saves this one, fishes it back. That one was a little shallow. I'm surprised Fänon Chжэндуnom didn't finish the point there.
7-8.
And again, shallow on the table. Has to keep it deep to stay in the rally there. So Dima's still up by one. Fänon Chжэндуnom with his second serve. So interesting, the relationship between these players. Dima played 3 years of the Chinese Super League. He's got a lot of friends in China, a lot of fans in China. They call him Ovcha. And he's friends with Fänon Chжэндуnom. I would love to have his second win here tonight.
9-8.
But the delayed exhale with the backhands don't work out on that point. Still a 1-point lead. Dima just 2 points away from taking the second game and tying up the score. I think that would do a lot to the confidence of Fänon Chжэндуnom, make things a bit tighter. Well, I think he appreciates the crowd's support. Not used to it right at the time of serve. So beautiful. Fänon Chжэндуnom right down the line. There aren't many places with the wide wingspan of Dima you can beat him when he's centered on the table if you're playing the corners. Catch him on the crossover point? Sure, maybe. Now, this is the type of atmosphere you want. Very rarely do we hear someone out cheering the Chinese fans in the crowd. Very rarely. Oh, beautiful! Once again, Fänon Chжэндуnom, Pyongyang on their feet, screaming. The fans know excellent when they see it. That is out of this world play. Dima doing everything to keep the ball in play with aggression. Look at this. 1 foot sneaks behind the right foot, and in that moment that he's slightly out of position, Fänon Chжэндуnom knows his timing and does not let this opportunity slip. Game point for Fänon Chжэндуnom. Oh, misses the backhand under pressure. Had some opportunity here. It wasn't the overpowering Fänon Chжэндуnom. It wasn't the soft touch. Just early in the rally, change of spin here. And Dima drops game 2. Fänon Chжэндуnom up 2-0. We will see. The match continues. Game number 3 right after this.
常好。要发球有的是以这个为主，对吧？偶尔配合到他反手太难了。就关键有的时候他过来的时候，可能还过来戳你一下，这时候要注意后面的衔接就行。非常好，好吧，坚定啊！
Back for game number 3.
Serve
Dima
game.
trying to find
Serve, level.
that peace of mind. Something out here to take a game to start the streak, but it's all 1 point at a time. Fänon Chжэндуном with the serve here.
1 love.
This is not a typical point. Definitely not a typical point of this match. Fänon Chжэндуnom with a long push to a guy who's not in over the table, who has a big forehand. And Dima misses his shot. Spins it out. There's the backhand.
1-0.
Waits to see. Fänon Chжэндуnom leaves a little room on the wide forehand corner. Dima finds it. Now this is the type of fishing that Dima can do effectively. Did you see where the bounce was on the table? Yes, me too. Right at the baseline and kicking. Watch one more time here. Low to the net. It's not an easy ball to counter, especially when you know your opponent has a rocket backhand that can finish the point from even back there. 2 pendulum serves in a row and 2 points for Dima. That's going to be some encouragement for the pendulum serve. Some tally marks to vote that one into play a bit more. This is the serve we saw Dimoi Ovčarov use for years and years against Ma Long. Still not a victory against Ma Long. Fänon Chжэндуном. Seriously. Dima goes for broke. He punches it back down the line. Soft one to the middle. There's the one to the backhand, and he's way outside. Fänon Chжэндуnom so fast, just leaping through. Again, Dima the hardest working player in Europe for sure.
3-all.
And Fänon Chжэндуnom just has so much energy out there right now. I talked about how Timo plays every match like it's his last opportunity. Fänon Chжэндуnom doing the same. That was the sound of a wedding ring from Dima on the table. Tied up at 3 points each.
3-4.
So it doesn't go back to the pendulum serve. He uses the backhand from the middle of the table. His placement has been very precise. We've seen less and less service errors from Dima as the tournament's gotten thicker and tougher, which is interesting. Usually it's the other way around. But again, he's working really hard and making big steps this year.
5-4.
But receive equally important here. Fänon Chжэндуnom has surprised the opponents. Here's the timeout. Dima's going to be back in the corner. Says this is the time to seize the opportunity. So down by 1. Again, he's down 0 games to 2. So if he doesn't use the timeout now, it might be irrecoverable.
Er weiß auch, dass auf dem hohen Level spielen muss, weiter konzentriert bleiben. Das ist wichtig. Ja, wenn du einen Aufschlag weitet, dann kein Seitenaufschlag. Ja, wenn dann wieder gerade ist. Aber der untere Aufschlag, der funktioniert ja gut, wenn der weit vorhanden ist. Das ist okay. Ja?
Time.
All right, I like the energy there. Dima with a little bit of confirmation to the suggestions of Jörg Roskopf. What they were, we will find out. Or we may never know, unless, of course, you speak German, which is
5-4.
a lot of people. Right out of the timeout, Fänon Chжэндуном takes the next point. The length of the push and the height of the push, so crucial in this short game. One shot we haven't seen, hasn't come up yet, that forehand flip from Dima, which can be quite strong.
Let 4-6.
But the opening loop tends to be stronger, the backhand. Soft and spinny. It's funny to describe it that way, but again, relative to Dima's power that we've seen out here, that opening forehand was much slower, a bit more of an arcing loop than it was a drive shot to win the point. The touch from Fänon Chжэндуном leaves it short on the table. Dima late to get in. Who would have expected that Fänon Chжэндуnom could control that ball so well from the baseline? Leaves open that wide forehand. Fänon Chжэндуnom leading by 2 at the second towel break. We already saw one 4-0 victory with Chun Mung. We're going to see one here. Dima would vote no.
7-6.
Nice use of the spin. Block tactic. Gives a little extra spin back and it jumps up off the edge of the racket. Fänon Chжэндуном caught in between decisions. Not playing his super aggressive self. Oh.
6-8.
Now I talked also about how he's prematurely choked. This one was unfortunate for Dima. Fänon Chжэндуном making a shot in a tough, awkward rally. Flips the top of the net, still comes down deep on the table. Perfect placement right into the middle. Dima started to turn. The backhand would have been the easier cover there. But who would have known that Fänon Chжэндуnom could quickly play the ball right back to where he did? 3 points down. No, he chases it. Fänon Chжэндуnom thought he had won it with that full commitment receive. Dima anticipates, covers the table, and brings it back. Earns himself a higher ball to rip for the winner. That was the one. Rarely do we see Fänon Chжэндуnom running with his back to the table. Shu Xin? Sure, yeah. Fänon Chжэндуnom, it's like a comet. Got to see it, the shooting star.
10-7.
Now 3 game points for Fänon Chжэндуnom to go up 3-0. Dima picking the dry lip here.
Let 10-7.
Oh man, Dima had a nice rhythm going, a nice pattern, and to rain on the parade, Fänon Chжэндуном comes back with an even better answer. On the run, his head facing out towards his right shoulder, he hits it right down the line. Dima on the wrong